In a world where strength decides destiny, one man holds a weapon unlike any other. Not a sword, not a gun, but a kitchen knife. From the moment he touched it, he was different, precise, fast, unstoppable. In the kitchen, his blade moved like it was alive. Every slice was perfect, every cut a masterpiece. Customers loved his dishes. Other chefs could only watch in awe, but talent like his draws attention. One day they came. They were men in dark suits. They had cold eyes. Their voices dripped with authority. Their leader stepped forward. He said he came to make good use of that talent. It was not a request. It was a threat. The air grew tense. The chef's gaze hardened. His grip tightened on the knife. And then the blade flashed. A single, graceful motion, faster than the eye could follow. Silence filled the room. The intruders realized they had just challenged the wrong man. After that day, whispers spread through the kitchen. Was it just skill or something more? No one knew, and he never explained. Then he disappeared. One moment he was there, the next he was gone. No goodbye, no trace, only the memory of a kitchen knife glinting under the light. This was only the beginning. Next, the academy awaited, and there he would prove that in a world of magic and power, a kitchen knife could conquer all. Nearly a year has passed, and I am still here. Not dead, just trapped in a world I never asked for. It is called Miracle Blessing M, a cheap mobile game I barely played. Pay to win. Auto hunting. Nothing special, until the day I woke up inside it. I did not get to be the hero. Not even an NPC. No, I am worse. Just a background character. They call me Kong Geometry Ma, Sword Demon. The name made me laugh at first, but I do have something rare. The Sword God's Blessing. 1 minute a day. That is all I get. For 60 seconds. I can cut through anything. And pain does not exist. The rest of the day, I am ordinary. Invisible. One mistake, and I am gone. So I wait. I adapt. I survive. But this world is not content to leave me in the background. Soon, the academy will test me. And when that 1 minute comes, they will see exactly what I can do. With nothing but a kitchen knife. The academy gates loomed high above. They cast a long shadow over the courtyard. New students crowded around. Their faces showed nerves and excitement. Among them, I stood quietly. My hand rested on the familiar weight of my kitchen knife. Announcements echoed through the air, welcoming the best and the brightest from across the land. Mages with sparkling staves. Swordsmen with blades like starlight. Everywhere I looked, there was power. And then, there was me. A few curious glances drifted my way. Some smirked. They whispered about the knife guy. Others didn't even bother to hide their laughter. Let them laugh. They didn't know what I could do. Orientation began. Our instructors commanded silence with their presence alone. They spoke of the trials ahead. Tests of skill, endurance, and willpower. Only the worthy would rise to the top. The rest would be forgotten. Our first challenge was announced. A practical evaluation in the training hall. Groups formed quickly. Friends and rivals paired off. I ended up alone. Begin. All around me, magic flared and blades clashed. The room filled with sparks, smoke, and the roar of battle. I stayed still, waiting, watching. A swordsman with a confident grin approached. His weapon was raised. One clean strike would end me, if I let him. My fingers tightened on the knife. 1 minute. That was all I needed. The blessings surged through me. The world slowed. Every movement, every breath, was crystal clear. I stepped forward. One slice. Clean and precise. His weapon shattered. His eyes went wide with shock. Before the blessing faded, I moved again. Another opponent down. And another. By the time it ended, the hall was silent. Every gaze was fixed on me. No one was laughing now. The training hall buzzed with whispers from the evaluation. Some were in awe. Others in denial. A few were already plotting how to take me down. I ignored them. The knife rested at my side. It looked harmless, but it held more meaning than any sword in the room. Today's lesson was different. No flashy duels. No show of power. The instructor led us to a long row of wooden tables. Each table was stacked with ingredients. This was no cooking class. It was a test of precision and control. One slip of the blade, and your score dropped. One moment of hesitation, and you were done. The others scoffed. What can we learn from slicing vegetables? But I knew better. The moment the signal was given, I moved. The knife danced in my hand. It glided through onions, peppers, and meat. It had the same grace it always had. Every cut was exact. Every slice was even. The rhythm was flawless. A song only my hands could play. Around me, others struggled. Blades chipped. Fingers nicked. Someone even dropped their cutting board. The instructor's eyes never left me. When the timer ended, my station was spotless. Not a single wasted movement. Not a drop of blood. The ingredients looked like they were prepared by a master chef. Because they had been. But my quiet victory didn't last. A top-ranked student stepped forward. His voice dripped with mockery. Nice knife skills, chef. But can you fight without your little toy? The challenge was obvious. And judging by the smirk on his face, he thought he already knew the answer. I met his gaze. The room fell silent again. When the next test came, I would show him, and everyone else, exactly why they should never underestimate the man with a kitchen knife. The instructor stepped between us. His gaze was as sharp as a blade. His presence alone was enough to stop the tension. A challenge has been issued. It will be settled in the arena. At dawn, the top student, Kale, sneered. I hope you're not bringing kitchen utensils to a real fight. He rested his hand on his longsword. It pulsed with a strange aura. I simply nodded. My expression showed nothing. Let him think what he wanted. My knife was more than a utensil, but I wouldn't need it to prove my point. Not for the whole fight, anyway. News of the duel spread like wildfire. By the time the sun cast its first rays, the arena was packed with students. They were all eager to see the knife guy get put in his place. They whispered and pointed. Their voices were a low hum. Kale stood in the center of the arena. He was basking in the attention, a picture of confidence. His armor gleamed. His sword was a work of art. And I stood in my simple training clothes. My hands were empty. No knife today, chef? Are you going to chop me like a vegetable? I didn't answer. I just watched him. My eyes were calm, focused. Begin. Kale lunged. His sword was a blur. I sidestepped. The blade whistled past my ear. He was fast, I'll give him that. But he was also predictable. For the next few minutes, I only dodged and weaved. I let him exhaust himself. His frustration grew with every missed strike. The crowd began to murmur. Their confidence in their champion was fading. Stand and fight, coward. That's when I made my move. He lunged again. I dropped low and swept his legs out from under him. He crashed to the ground. His sword slid away. Before he could recover, I was on him. My finger was pressed against his throat. Silence. Then, the whispers began again. This time, they were laced with disbelief. I leaned in close. You wanted to fight without my knife. You got one. Then I stood up and walked away, leaving him there, defeated and humiliated. The crowd parted from me as I left. Their faces showed a mixture of awe and fear. I had their attention now. They knew I was more than just the knife guy, and they had no idea what I was truly capable of. This was just the beginning. My 1-minute power remained my secret. My trump card. I would play it when the stakes were much higher. The academy was just a stepping stone, and I would conquer it, one challenge at a time. The walk back was a blur of muted colors. The students who wanted my downfall now parted before me, like a river around a stone. Their gazes were no longer filled with mockery, but with a wary respect. Fear is a powerful motivator, and I had just given them a reason to be afraid. Back in the quiet of my room, I cleaned my hands. The duel was a calculated risk. I had shown them just a sliver of my capability. Enough to sow doubt. Enough to earn some breathing room. I hadn't used my knife. More importantly, I hadn't used my blessing. My greatest strength remained hidden, waiting for a true threat. Later that day, I was summoned. It was Master Valerius, the instructor from the duel. He was a retired knight. His reputation was etched into the academy's very stones. He stood by a large window in his office. Kong geometry ma. He said it without turning around. You fight like a man with nothing to lose. I have everything to lose, sir. That's why I don't lose. He finally turned. His eyes scrutinized me. Your technique is unorthodox. It's not swordsmanship. It's not martial arts. It's efficient, almost like a butcher breaking down a carcass. I didn't confirm or deny it. My past as a chef was another life, but its lessons were carved into my muscle memory. Your victory has unsettled the hierarchy. Talent is respected here, but disrupting the order creates enemies. Be careful who you alienate. It was a warning, and strangely, a sign of acknowledgement. Our next class was not in the arena. It was in a fortified laboratory. The subject, monster anatomy and material harvesting. Cages lined one wall. They held various captured beasts, creatures of tooth and claw. The objective was simple. Understand the enemy. Know their weak points. They're vital organs. Know the parts that could be harvested. You will be working in pairs. I scanned the room. No one looked eager to team up with me. Then, a voice spoke up beside me. Is this spot taken? It was a girl with silver hair. Her robes marked her as a mage. A powerful one. Her name was Alara. She was one of the few who hadn't laughed at me on the first day. She had watched with quiet curiosity. It's free. Our task was a shadow cat. A beast with obsidian fur and claws that could shred steel. It was already dead, laid out on a metal table. The goal? Cleanly extract its mana core. It was a fragile, crystal-like organ. A single slip could shatter it. The other students drew specialized knives and magical tools. Kale and his partner hacked away clumsily. His arrogance was gone, replaced by a sullen frustration. Alara looked at me. I can use a spell to reveal the core's location, but my magic is too volatile for such delicate work. I nodded, and finally drew my weapon. The familiar weight settled in my hand. He's really going to use that thing? I ignored them. I let my senses take over. I didn't need a spell. I could feel the subtle grain of the muscle, the faint energy coming from the core. My blade entered the creature's chest. There was no hacking, no sawing. It was a single, fluid motion. A long, graceful cut. It parted the cat flesh as if it were water. My hand moved with the speed of a master chef. I worked around bones and sinew. My knife was an extension of my will. A moment later, I reached in and pulled out a perfect, glowing mana core. Its light pulsed gently in my palm. The entire process had taken less than 30 seconds. The lab fell completely silent. Even Master Valerius looked stunned. I placed the core on the tray. I wiped my knife clean. Alara stared. Her eyes were wide with shock and understanding. How did you? I replied calmly. It's just like slicing a fish. You just have to know where the bones are. But as I looked at the stunned faces around me, I knew they didn't see a chef. They saw something else entirely. Something unnatural. And in a world of magic and monsters, being unnatural could be the most dangerous thing of all.